Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day?
Hello everyone, my name's Dean. Let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is August 5th, 2025. And there's good news and bad news. The good news is that crypto is now trending. I don't mean on social media or on Google or anything like that. I'm talking about the technical definition of a trending market where you can expect swift moves up or swift moves down, very little side to side. That's good news. It is more defined. It is more decisive. The bad news is we're going to experience some downtrending markets, okay? And very soon, in a very short order, we're going to experience some very strong uptrending markets. So I think right now, the biggest hurdle towards succeeding in the cryptocurrency space is one, understanding that this, what I just said, is even possible or even plausible. Being able to read which markets are trending up, which markets are trending down, and taking advantage of that. So guys, if that all sounds interesting to you, then watch until the very end. Hope everyone's having a great day. Let's get into it. I'm going to start today with this index chart, this master chart on the weekly time frame. I spoke yesterday briefly about the importance of context, high time frame context, and then really having the high time frame inform your smaller time frame analysis. In this circumstance, this chart, this trade thesis on a very high time frame has informed my trading theses on the smaller time frames for a very long time. Remember how it works. Your high time frame analyses are high probability. They're more likely to play out. They may take a while, but they're more likely to play out. The smaller time frame reads, the smaller time frame trade theses are less, they're less probable, they're harder to pin down, and there's just so many ways things can happen. But at the end of the day, here's my high time frame thesis for Bitcoin, the king asset in cryptocurrency. So as you can see here, you have a relatively strong trend right here that has been going for quite some time. Sorry, I'm pulling out this right here. Okay, I don't know why this is not responding. Here we go. Let's try that again. Okay, so a relatively strong trend that you can see since 2023, you've been going up, okay? But this, I argue, is not a pure impulsive trend. This is a corrective uptrend, okay? It's a corrective uptrend hugging the bottom support that has turned resistance since you broke below it, okay? So that's really important to note. It's important to note the quality of that uptrend, that it's not pure impulse. And that disabuses you of the notion that you're in a bull market, okay? It's corrective in nature, and I'm not going to get into everything the definition of a pure impulsive trend, what characterizes a corrective trend, but I talk about it from time to time on the channel. But this is, again, a corrective uptrend. It's an uptrend, but it's corrective. So it's a consolidation, if you will. Again, hugging the bottom resistance of this 10 plus year channel. Now, you get to this level right here in December of 24, and you form a double top. Very important. Then that breaks down correctively, okay? in the manner that you can expect most trends to correct in this ABC right here. Sorry, let's try that again. Let's zoom in actually. Right here, you can see an ABC correction. Okay, that is a quintessential break of structure. That's what you look for. And then you keep going here with a B wave. This is very important. And this is another reason you don't look at what you got since March of 25 in thinking that's pure impulse. There's a reason why some people are so intent on attaching themselves to the notion that Bitcoin has to continue and break through this resistance right here. But if you can see the higher time frame picture, you can understand all that you've done here is put in a counter correction. So this is your initial correction, and this is your counter correction right here. Okay, so a counter correction, we know, only goes to a maximum of 1618 standard deviations of your initial corrections. Furthermore, you're expecting for all the corrections to end up in the direction of the initial correction. So this is the A wave, this is the B wave, and this should be your final correction. So again, the high time frame analysis, it gives you the benefit of this vantage, of this perspective. Without this perspective, it's very difficult to make sense of what's going on, even on the small to medium time frames. Okay, the other thing I want to say is this. Here is an important resistance. This right here was resistance for many months, from March until November. Finally, it was broken. You never retested this level of resistance as support. So this is another reason why this level right here that you can see with this dashed line is a magnet for price, okay? Fast forward a couple years, we're all the way up here. If you have the perspective of the larger time frame movements, you're very comfortable saying, well, this level must be retested for this reason right here, because there's never been a retest of this broken resistance. Furthermore, up here you have two corrective waves, an A wave and a B wave, and you know that all corrective patterns move in flavors of 3, so you're expecting a capitulative conclusive C wave. This is one of the main reasons why this is a high probability move. So that is the high time frame perspective, the high time frame vantage for why Bitcoin is very, very likely to come back to between 58 and 60K. This has been my trade thesis for months, if not at this point years, right? Just looking at how price action has moved on a high time frame. Do not discount high time frame reads. Do your work on the high time frame to get a clear picture for what's likely to play out. Then go on the smaller time frames and see how it's playing out. It's very difficult though, because like I said, this has been my trade thesis for months, if not years. It's taken months or years for this to play out. How many people in our space have the kind of discipline or the time frame to do any kind of analysis or any kind of trading on that kind of time span, right? So keep that in mind. Now let's go to our regular Bitcoin chart, okay? And I haven't shared that in a while just because it hasn't been super relevant. But now it's even more relevant given what's happened. So if you can put this into perspective, this 300-day channel that we're looking at right now is basically the top of the move from the A wave to the B wave, and then a consolidation. You see, now that 300 days doesn't seem that big a deal. It's a small portion of a much larger movement. So it's a consolidation, meaning it's what changes the direction of price from the B wave going up to down into the C wave. And so I'm saying now that because this is finished, we're in the impulsive movement of the C wave, that larger C wave taking us down to the 60K level. So you must be very careful, because this move has been 300 days thereabouts in the making. The consolidation, right, has been gathering orders of that B wave for 300 days, yielding a move down. I don't know if you can see that. I can't see it on my end, but sometimes it's lagged. So I'm just going to assume that you can see it, and I'm going to keep moving. Okay, so on the small time, actually, let me just back up, because if you can see it, I don't want to make a mess of the chart. So let's go back. All right. Here we are. So on the smaller time frames now, let's use our typical 4-hourly time frame, intraday time frame to do our analysis. This is a daily show, but you have to really appreciate that I'm not just looking at the price action on the daily time frame or whatever happened in the past 24 hours, past 48 hours, and then talking about that. The high time frame analysis is really high time frame. And if you're not informed by a high time frame thesis, it's almost like you're operating blind, because it's like there's no context. There's no context. Okay, so now we're on the 4-hourly time frame, and you can see that we've broken down from this 19-day channel that you can see here. Okay, and we've duly retested the midline of our 19-day channel and broken down from that. So what does this tell us? On the small time frame, this is a very strong indication that we're going to break the channel down, okay? Because breaking up from the channel is the opposite. You overcome the midline, you retest it as support, and you go up, right? And then obviously you retest the channel as support, and then you break the channel. What we're doing now is literally the opposite what you would expect from a channel break. This is why, with a high degree of probability on the small time frames, we can say this channel is breaking down because it's following every indication of a channel break from the midline retest, failure at the midline, and now ultimately breaking the channel, retesting the channel as resistance, and then breaking down ultimately. Okay, so that's all taking place. If that takes place, then what's below us, and this is what we've been talking about for a few days, the next level of support is the 100K level. Okay, and that 100K level is the first stop for our bigger downtrend to 60K. Okay, so if 100K is our first stop, do you expect everything else to also move down? I keep getting questions in the comments. Oh, if Bitcoin's going to break down, aren't alts going to break down as well? Yeah, everything's going to break down, but certain things aren't going to break down as much because they've already moved out of the way a bit, or, you know, we're talking about from here, a 12-13% move. So 12-13% move isn't the end of the world. It doesn't necessarily break structure for that many assets. But 12 to 13% in Bitcoin right here is clearly breaking structure. 12 to 13% in Ethereum, for instance, and Solana, you're breaking structure based off of where they're at. Okay. So if things are going to move down, and we accept that, this is where we can experience a global downtrend in crypto. Now, I talked about in the beginning of the video, we should expect a trend in both directions. So it's a trending market down and it's a trending market up. The downtrend is what we're first going to experience, right? And that's an immediate short-term thing. And we talked about this before on the channel. You can see here the total 3 is still where we left it. And I was saying yesterday that you didn't break the channel, this channel that I'm showing you under between dotted lines. You can see you wicked above the channel ever so slightly, and you're coming right back in it. Okay, so this is very much likely to continue the downtrend. And just like I said, because Bitcoin's breaking down, everything should break down. So altcoins in the aggregate should be breaking down about 16-17%. This is where it gets interesting. Okay, so if Bitcoin goes down to its first level of support at around 100K, that's not the end of the move, but that is a temporary respite of the downtrend. At that point, Bitcoin finds immediate or intermediate support and starts heading up. With that small motion up from 100K to maybe 110, 11, I think it is, this is where you can expect the first violent move of alt season. This is where your trend up comes into play. This is the uptrend, right? Meanwhile, Bitcoin's going to also move up, but it's not going to be trending up. It's going to be counter trending up. It goes back to what I said yesterday. Don't confuse the trend for the counter trend. Let me explain this, and I think a lot of you get this, but for those of you who don't, let's just explain this really quickly. Okay, downtrend right here, this is what we're expecting, a move down to 100K, and this is the counter. Okay, so if you look, this is the trend, this is the counter trend. Okay, so the counter trend is coming back up to resistance. All right, it's going to be retesting old support as new resistance, as you can expect in any downtrend. So that move is counter trending up. Meanwhile, altcoins are going to be trending up, not counter trending up, trending up. This is the difference. So when I say I'm expecting Bitcoin to make a massive retracement to 58 to 60K, and everybody loses their minds because they're thinking, oh, my altcoins, how does this reconcile with alt season being right around the corner? How does this reconcile with being bullish on some alts? Well, some alts, and I underline, some alts will be trending up. So this is the trend up right here. And then once Bitcoin goes back down, trends down, they're going to be counter trending down. So it's up to us to disambiguate those assets that are going to be trending down, those assets that are going to be trending up, those assets that are going to be counter trending down, and those assets that are going to be counter trending up. No confusion. Those assets that are going to be trending up are only counter trending down. Those assets that are going to be counter or trending down are only going to be counter trending up. After a certain point, when Bitcoin hits its ultimate support level between 58 and 60, when ETH hits its ultimate support level around 1,000 in my estimation, then everything starts trending up more or less and then counter trending down. That's full blown crypto bull market. This is my thesis. It's been my thesis for quite some time. So let's see how it plays out. But on the high time frame, thus far, this is exactly what we're seeing. To end the video, let's have a quick look at the Bitcoin dominance chart. We said yesterday, Bitcoin dominance was making a small move down, but we have every expectation for it to ultimately come back to this level because our high time frame thesis, our high time frame analysis is high probability that this move, this level at 64% gets retested. Well, what happened? You got a move and a consolidation. A move kept coming down and a consolidation, and now it's trending up again. So everything seems to be going according to plan. That's pretty much it, guys. At this point in time, the name of the game is figure out what to ride up, what to ride down. For the immediate short term, just to recap, everything's going to make a move down. And that move down should be a strong, swift move down, right? And that is the nature of trending price action, especially those assets that are on support, should give you a quick, very clean, beautiful capitulative move to the downside, capitulative move into demand, right? Letting you know that they're about to start a very strong move to the upside, okay? So the name of the game is to figure out which assets are on support and which assets are at resistance. So which assets are going to be trending up, which assets are going to be trending down and only counter trending up. This is your task. Obviously, I go over all of that with clients in the crypto portfolio mentorship and consultation service. So I do my best to have clients only in assets that are going to be trending up at this point in time, and, you know, basically hands off of assets that are going to be trending down. That makes sense, right? So you can sign up for that at the pinned comment below. I did mention that the price will change for new subscribers, for new clients very soon. So this is the last time I'm going to give notice of that price change. It's going to be a significant increase just because, you know, like, business is good and things are going well as far as, you know, my calls are going and, you know, the demand for my services. Like, share, subscribe if you got value, tip if you like, Venmo, Litecoin, Cash App, all at the pinned comment below. Hope this helps you all. Don't forget, we have that 10% bonus on new deposits to BTC.D, the new exchange partner for the channel. That link is also in the pinned comment below. Take care. Good luck. Let's make some money, and I'll see you later. Bye.
Endeavors to occupy my prevalent time slot. I vocalize, too deep to localize, even when I'm right on the surface. You act surprised how I work this, but I can't lie. Many a good alibi. I'll catch you later. Visions are vividly enhanced with emphasis and amethyst to develop morale advantages which help us manifest. Magnanimous, we body vitals like evangelists. So listen when you're dealing with people who be revealing premonitions with precision. At least that's what I'm aiming at for now. I speak the language of the world, meandering throughout the crowd. Used to feel safe to say anything, but now it's a risk. It's hard for me to let go when all I can do is reminisce. Gone like the wind, here's where I begin. Should I smile or should I grin what's happening?